In Ghana, it's 12 o'clock. Time to reach for mobile water. Mobile water, unique in every way.
Years of joyfulness. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM, hits 103.9 FM here in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We're also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via our various affiliates, live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dream this afternoon.
Let your conscience prick you so that you would also be the next to protest and do a sit-down strike. Because it has happened before when Georgina Wood came under attack. Chusak rose to her defense and that stopped the Ataman's government. The time again has come for you, the judiciary, to rise.
Hundreds of supporters from the NPP and other political parties took to the streets of Accra demanding the reinstatement of a suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu as the minority leader called on judicial service staff to embark on a sit-down strike. We take you live to the grounds where protesters are marching towards the seat of the presidency after presenting petitions to the judiciary and parliament.
Solidarity because of her gender. It has nothing to do with her qualifications. So let's separate that. I think she's being discriminated against. I think she's not getting, yes, and I think she's not being given a fair hearing.
Also in this package, National Security launches investigation into the alleged armed takeover of a licensed mining site in Adansi, North Ashanti region, amid reports that the gun-wielding men involved were acting under state directives.
4 days ago, I got a call from many people, in fact, the chief of the area and other people asking me to investigate why national security will take over that mine with people with pump action guns parading and mining.
We'll hear from the Ashanti Regional Minister. Also coming up, the Electricity Company of Ghana is investigating a fire that broke out at the Achimota bulk supply point, which led to widespread power outages across parts of Accra.
And as we speak now, Achimota is safe. All customers that are supposed to be taking supply from Achimota are taking supply from Achimota. So the situation is under control.
And if your power goes out during rainfall, the ECG says it may take some time before the issue is resolved.
Our network we are constructing is actually not meeting demands. And you know the illegal connections in town, they go to do things without ECG approval.
In sports,
Ghana's Black Satellites face defending champions Senegal in a crucial match at the ongoing Under-20 AFCON.
And National Health Insurance Authority assures of dedicated funding for dialysis treatment across the country as it outlines plans to systemize renal patients using the Mahama Care program.
As to the back-end issues, I think it's not good to discuss them here. What Mahama Care seeks to do is to systematize the way that dialysis is done so that all across Ghana, people can have the care that they require.
These and more coming up with me, Maame, Nyamekye, Thompson. Stay for details. And this afternoon, hundreds of supporters of some opposition political parties poured onto the streets of Accra, demanding that President John Mahama reinstate suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. The opposition parties, led by the NPP, argue that the CJ's removal process currently underway is politically tainted, while her suspension is unconstitutional. The Chief Justice is on an indefinite suspension following a prima facie determination made by the President and the Council of State after 3 petitions were submitted for her removal. Minority Leader Alexander Afenyu-Markin, who led the protesters to their stops, the Supreme Court, to present a petition to the judiciary, has called on the judicial service staff to embark on a strike or a sit-down strike and protest the Chief Justice suspension.
Presenting this petition to you as a judicial secretary for you to deliberate upon it, read the content, table it before the judicial council. Let your conscience prick you so that you would also be the next to protest and do a sit-down strike. Because it has happened before when Georgina Wood came under attack. Chusak rose to her defense, and that stopped the Atamons government. The time again has come for you, the judiciary, to rise. Don't be comfortable because it is Tokonu, because you have your own grievances, because you also have a party interest. The judiciary is our last hope, and we believe that what is happening undermines our democracy and the rule of law. For the Chief Justice to be singled out for this unfortunate attack, flimsy, pedestrian petition, the Council of State has failed the country. We want you as an institution to put aside your individual difference and know that it is your institution that is under attack. Maybe today is Tokonu, tomorrow, my respected friend, it may be you. You don't serve at the whims and caprices of a political party and a government. So this exercise is to protect this very institution. What is happening to her ladyship is repugnant to good conscience. This government is to focus its attention on governance and not to be attacking actors who are non-partisan. We've become aware that the very government that criticized the increase in the number of judges to the bench has suddenly appointed 7 more judges to the Supreme Court. You and I know, you are a judicial secretary, you've been in this, you know the process of nominating judges to the Supreme Court is not what has been used. And we are calling on each and every one of you, from the acting CJ, or judicial service staff, or judges, that don't be comfortable.
And you have the Minority Leader Alexander Fanyumakin. Let's start base with my colleagues, Sweetie Aboche and Michael Ashale. Let me start with you, Sweetie. Earlier you spoke to some MPs for Jomoro, Catherine Afeko, who claimed that this is also about womanhood. Sweetie, are you on the line? We're still trying to get Sweetie Aboche and Michael Ashale, who are currently live on the grounds for us. But in the meantime, let's hear from Catherine Afeku, who is MP for Jomoro.
Solidarity because of her gender. It has nothing to do with her qualifications. So let's separate that. I think she's being discriminated against. I think she's not getting, yes, and I think she's not being given a fair hearing. And in our wisdom, women must rise to support a woman in distress. The nation needs to rise to this occasion because the suspension, as far as we are concerned, there is a bit of a...
Well, you know the president has every right to suspend it.
That's why we said it's discretionary powers. We, the people of Ghana, are here to be served by the leadership. So it is not... This is not autocracy, this is democracy. That's why we have the right with the permit to exert our influence in expressing our thoughts and our misgivings. So we are not here to fight with the executive. We are here to register our protest.
And you had former MP for Evaluate Jura, Catherine Afeku there. Let's touch base with Sweetie Aboche once again. Sweetie, where are you currently?
Well, Maame, I just left the demonstration grounds and headed back to the office in a very chaotic way. And we've had so many women say that this is an issue of discrimination of women. In fact, we just had the former Minister of State who was saying that there aren't any women. And so it all smells of discrimination against a woman, and just because of that. But we also have the former Deputy AD, Dinah Atunabadapa, who said that...
Sweetie, kindly reposition yourself well so we can hear you properly. And before she went off, she spoke to former Deputy Attorney General Dinah Atunabadapa, who said that they're on the protest also for the sake of posterity.
Be up and doing in safeguarding the very democracy we have built over the many years. Because the judiciary being the last vanguard of what should not be toyed with. The whole understanding, the whole conversation around making the judiciary partisan is abhorrent, and every right-thinking Ghanaian should condemn it. And that is why in the midst of these many people with different ideologies, different beliefs, the joy is that there is a commonality, that there is the need to protect the independence of the judiciary. And for me, that brings me joy. That posterity will look back and then thank us.
Well, the group also went to Parliament, and the minority leader presented a petition to Parliament. Let's listen.
The president no longer sees himself as a president. He fancies himself as an autocrat, a ruler for life. His every gesture speaks to a sinister agenda to break the constitution and amend it and prolong his grip on power, abetted by a judiciary he is desperate to capture. In other words, the president is looking forward to using the judiciary for a third term. This explains the relentless siege on the judiciary. A judiciary that has stood as a last bulwark between autocracy and freedom is now the target of the NDC government. Today, the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, a distinguished servant of this republic, is under siege. The head of the judiciary is being dragged through a sham process of removal from office, engineered by a desperate president and a rubber stamped by a toothless, failed Council of State. Their goal is not justice, it is intimidation. It is a warning shot to every judge: obey or be broken. They do not seek a judiciary that upholds the law. They seek one that bows to the will of a dictator, President Mahama. And as if the shameful attacks on the Chief Justice were not enough, His Excellency the President plans to turn his diabolic sight on the Electoral Commission, just as several of his party stalwarts have predicted. Plans are far advanced to dismantle the current commission and replace its leadership with loyal NDC operatives. Receive it to be transmitted to the Speaker for further deliberations on the floor of the House. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you very much, and we'll accordingly transmit it to the Right Honourable Speaker for appropriate action.
And you had the Minority Leader Alexander Fenyo marking with excerpts of their petition being handed to the Clerk of Parliament. We understand that they are currently on their way to the presidency also to offer their petition there. Moving on, the National Security has initiated an investigation into the alleged forceful takeover of a licensed underground small-scale mining site at Akadechieso in the Adansi North District by armed men reportedly acting under instructions of the National Security. According to Joy News' editor, environmental journalist Erastus Saridonko, individuals wielding pump action guns have occupied the site for the last few days, driven out legal workers and operated private equipment belonging to the licensed owner, despite the mine having been commended by a recent government committee for its organized and responsible mining practices. Erastus joins us on the phone lines with more on this. Erastus, so far, what do we know about this mine? How did the alleged takeover happen?
Well, what we do know is that it was registered as Chichewere Youth Cooperative Society. It was given license in 1st June 2020. And currently, as we speak, they are trying to renew their licenses. They do hard rock underground mining. Now, the mine itself is at Akadechieso in the Adansi North District. 4 days ago, my checks have indicated that National Security sent some military men down to solve a problem that occurred miles away from Akadechieso in Akrokere. Upon their return, they took advantage to go over to the mining site, drive away the workers, and took over the mining. And they've been mining for 4 days now.
Well, the Ashanti Regional Minister has been responding to this, and in his quote on social media, he says, on the issue raised by Erastus Asaridonko, the National Security has taken up the matter and will provide clarity in due course, end quote. Are you aware of the steps being taken on this, Erastus?
I understand that a team is being sent to the site, but I've also gotten information from the area that as of today, the armed men who were seen on site were seen fleeing that particular area.
Thank you very much, Erastus Asaridonko. Meanwhile, Ghana is making another strategic move aiming to consolidate a gold purchase program to boost the country's gold reserves and stabilize its currency. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in studio with more. Kweku, what's the latest?
So we are getting information that according to a Reuters report, Ghana has now signed a new deal with 9 more mining companies to purchase 20% of their gold output. And the goal is to consolidate gold purchasing through the gold board and strengthen the Bank of Ghana's gold holdings to reduce reliance on foreign currency for gold exports.
Well, what companies are involved in this latest deal?
You see, the 9 companies include Golden Team Mining Company Limited, Akroma Gold Limited, Adamus Resources Limited, Cardinal Namdini Mining Limited, Goldstone Akrokeri Limited, L International Group Limited, Extra Gold Mining, Prestia Sankofa Gold Limited, and Ganhe Mining Resource Development Limited.
And how does this help Ghana's reserves and the city?
So the companies combined produce about 200 kilograms of gold every month. The gold will be sold to the Gold Board, that is Ghana's official gold aggregator, in the form of door bars. Payments will be made in cedis at 1% discount to the global spot price. This adds to Ghana's gold reserves, which rose from 8.77 metric tons in 2022 to 30.8 tons in February this year. That helped push the gross reserves up to $9.4 billion. And the question some would ask is, how does this tie back to the central bank's broader gold buying program? And the new agreement, we know now, extends the Bank of Ghana's 2022 deal with bigger players like Goldfields, Newmont, Anglo Gold Ashanti, and Asanko Mining. The broader aim is to cut smuggling, boost local earnings, and ultimately help stabilize the local city currency.
Thank you so much, Kwekwa Santi. Now, engineers from the Electricity Company of Ghana have begun investigations into the cause of a fire that broke out at the company's Achimota bulk supply point on Saturday evening. The incident resulted in widespread power outages across several parts of Accra. According to ECG officials, the fire, which was brought under control by the Ghana National Fire Service, damaged key equipment critical to electricity distribution in the capital. Areas affected by the blackout included Achimota, La Paz, Kwabenya, Tesano, and parts of East Legon. General Manager in charge of sub-transmission, Francis Achiachia, tells Joy News power has been restored to the affected areas, but the exact cause of the fire remains unknown.
Per our investigation that we have done so far, we've identified that we had a termination failure on the feeder emanating from Achimota to Jimpa substation. And we also had a lightning arrestor, a shattered lightning arrestor on one of our transformers at Kwabenya.
What is that? What is a lightning arrestor?
So it's a device just to arrest a surge from any thunder strike.
Right.
Yeah. So in case of any thunder strike, it doesn't damage the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So
can lightning shatter a lightning arrestor?
Yes, it can. It can, depending on the voltage levels. As at 1:30 p.m. yesterday, we've been able to transfer all affected customers onto the adjoining stations. So we took our time to replace the damaged equipment. By 8:30 p.m., all switchings that were done to transfer the customers were reversed back to normalcy.
General Manager in charge of sub-transmission at ECG, Francis Achacha. Some peri-urban areas in Greater Accra have been complaining about their power going off anytime it rains. Mr. Francis Achacha says ECG is working to identify the problem and fix it.
We built our network to withstand the rainstorm, and we know our environment that we live. There are so many things happening in the system where people are tampering with our installations, vandalizing our pylons.
And right about now, we go back to the Save the Judiciary demonstration, where we're learning that protesters are trying to force their way through police barricade to the presidency. Let's go back to the place and learn what's happening on the ground.
Just for education purposes, the president acted, he's mandated to do the suspension under the Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. When he receives petitions and it's a prima facie case, he can suspend. And that's exactly what he's done. But so many people seem not to, they have their diverse opinions and people have different understanding of the whole issue.
And you heard there Asabia Adobe Asari giving us updates on what's happening on the ground. We'll get the latest update when we know that the petition is being presented at the presidency. Well, going back to that ECG story, and for areas with low voltage, the ECG director said that with areas where there are low voltage, new transformers are being installed in new communities to reduce the load.
You realize that development is moving on very fast. We are trying to catch up, although we are constrained, but we are trying to catch up. We have about 7 major substations in Accra, Accra 6, and then one in Denu, which we have started working on. We are going to upgrade all those major transformers to a bigger capacity. The places are Lashibi, La, Adenta, Teshinungwa, Bachona, Rich, and then Denu. In addition to that, we plan to put up what we call a mobile substation at Chado.
Well, in a related development, ECG has declared no more outages for residents in Chado and Burma. This comes after years of power challenges there. And James Aveji was with them earlier and joins me in studio. James, tell us more about that.
Well, Maame, we know the age-long power challenge of Chado and Burma camp areas, where power goes off or voltage runs low with every slight provocation. The ECG, in response to residents' agitation over the period, attributed the challenge to pressure on the existing transformer at La Trade Fair substation. So the ECG last night brought in this 20 MVA mobile station, and which will take 6 weeks to install, and after installation fix the challenge for customers. Engineer Emmanuel Kwame is maintenance manager at the Accra Regional Office of the ECG.
Thank you.
This is a 2026 megavolt ampere, that's MVA substation, and it has this can take care of over 5,000 and more customers within this area, and that is, and it is operating on a voltage of 33 and 11 kilovolts, so kV, and that is how it is.
Which means, as far as ECG is concerned, the petty challenges in this area will be resolved as soon as you install this and begin distribution.
That is right. That is correct.
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a break. When we return, we have sports and also National Health Insurance Authority. It shows of dedicated funding for dialysis treatment across the country.
As to the back-end issues, I think it's not good to discuss them here. What Mahama Care seeks to do is to systematize the way that dialysis is done so that all across Ghana, people can have the care that they require.
Where did I? Now I don't know many I just saw. Obiang, what's the chrome ha? And to want to say Petrosol for your energizing drinks for motion. Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Mama.
Our mothers carried us, cared for us, and made 100 silent sacrifices. They were our first teachers, first friends, and forever heroes. Just imagine your life without the love, strength, and the sacrifices of your mother. Thank you, Mama. You are truly loved and appreciated. As we celebrate Mother's Day, your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM, is asking you to say thank you, Mama, in a way only a queen deserves. Bring your mothers to Joy FM's magical Safari Day Out on Saturday, May 10 at the breathtaking Safari Valley Eco Resort for an all-day experience, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's not just a getaway, it's a full day of love, laughter, and unforgettable joy. Watching Mama smile from the heart. We'll kick things off with a guided wild tour where you'll meet zebras, wallabies, exotic birds, and more. Then explore a world of fun, horseback riding, Segway and bicycle rides, bowling, archery, owari, Jenga, darts, and more. Kids, we've got a full amusement park to keep them happy all day long. And of course, there's the feast, a sumptuous buffet lunch with freshly squeezed juices, followed by tributes to our mothers, photo moments, giveaways, and our grandmother's day cake cutting. And just when you think your heart is full, Kwampa will lift us even higher in music and celebration. Rates: adults 950 Ghana cedis, teenagers 650 Ghana cedis, and 550 Ghana cedis for children. Make payments via Momo to 0593 038 842 and reference Mama. The Momo name is Daniel Boyfiu. Need a ride? You are covered. There will be buses to convey those who may need it at no extra cost. For enquiries, call 0302 216 540. Let's make memories. Let's honor Mama. Let's do this the Joy FM way. Safari Day Out with Mama, because she deserves the world and just a little more.
Mama, you know I love you.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We head back to the Save the Judiciary demonstration where we understand that the minority leader is presenting his petition to the presidency.
Received us on behalf of the Speaker. We expect that the petition will be brought to the House floor once the House resumes for deliberation. And finally, to the principal actor himself. We believe that what is happening is not good for us. There must be an end to this issue of you do me, I do you. There must be an end to retaliatory politics. In Ghana today, all of us as political actors have a story to tell. Where do we end the vicious cycle? It is not yielding to the whims of hawks and hardliners in our respective political parties that will make us better political leaders. We believe that the hawks must be pushed back onto the fringes so that the centrists can take the center stage for the good of our country. In today's era of social media, you cannot control what gets onto the streets, and this democracy must be protected and safeguarded. So, my respected brother and friend, this is to you. The language is very respectful.
That in itself is a very strong message about the democracy that President Mahama wants to instill in our dear country. If it were the case like this over the past 8 years, I'm sure that the retaliatory politics that you talk about wouldn't have been the case. You referencing retaliatory politics is an admission that the 8 years of President Akufo-Addo and Mahama Bawumia were not the best for this country. You can be assured, however, that President Mahama, as every Ghanaian knows, is not that politician. President Mahama does not believe in retaliatory politics. He's described as, too much of a father for all kind of presidents, and everybody knows that. Whatever actions that are being taken now, whatever decisions that are being taken now, as everybody knows, is in line with the provisions of our 1992 Constitution. Indeed, before President Akufo-Addo left the presidency, he himself had started a certain process where issues were brought to him about the Chief Justice, and he referred them to the Council of State. And that is what President Mahama has done. It is not about retaliating on something that was done by the previous administration against President Mahama or the NDC. So the process that is ongoing is constitutional, and I do believe that if the committee that has been set completes its work, whatever decisions that they make, just as the Council of State's advice to the President was binding on him, it will be binding on him. I can assure you and the people of Ghana that we appreciate the fact that just as government ensured that you went about your demonstration peacefully, there was one also last weekend, peacefully without any attempt at preventing you from expressing yourselves. We will continue to allow for that peaceful expression of ourselves in this country under President Mahama. Nobody is going to inhibit or stop anybody from going that. That should tell you that President Mahama in less than 120 days has demonstrated how he is going to save the democracy of Ghana. He's going to grow the democracy of this country, and we are going to be together. We will work together. We will work together with you and all the political parties, and your petition will be given the due response. I thank you very much, my brother.
So we just heard from Sandobe receiving the petition on behalf of.
And you heard there Sandobe, Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, receiving the petition on behalf of the President. We had earlier Alexander Penyumakin, Minority Leader, presenting his petition to the Presidency, insisting that the President rescinds the suspension of the Chief Justice. And on that note, we end the Midday News here on Joe 99.7 FM. I am Maame Nyamekye Thompson. Up next is Living Word.